So Ruth Bay had proposed to our board right before Christmas that our club fund the providing of meals for police and for the frontline healthcare workers. And so here you see that, and again, this was for Christmas Day, that we received Bruce Bay and our club received acknowledgement from the West Los Angeles Police Department, the captain's board. And there was Bruce Bay receiving the award, and also, and that was posted on Facebook as well. And also through Bruce Bay's restaurant, we provided continental breakfast for 50 frontline healthcare workers at the UCLA Medical Center, again on Christmas morning. So it was a wonderful idea. And one of the things that we have set ourselves up for this year is to be responsive on very short notice when there is a need or an opportunity to help. And I also want to mention that the next district breakfast is going to be held on Tuesday, February 2nd at 8 o'clock in the morning. An apt theme, create a club your members will love. The guest speaker is Rotary International Director and past governor of District 5170, Brad Howard. I've heard great things about him as a speaker. And it's only an hour and you don't have to go anywhere, but you do have to provide your own breakfast. So I encourage all of us to participate. And before I ask Tom to introduce our guest speaker, does anybody have any announcements that they would like to make? Any news to share? Oh, by the way, Diane let me know a while ago that Carol Rosenstein's husband has been diagnosed with COVID-19 and is having to be moved to a special nursing facility. So I ask for our prayers and thoughts for both of them. What I find astonishing is the amazing work that she has done in building Music Men's Minds into a worldwide organization while she's also taking care of a seriously ill husband. It's really moving and impressive. So on that note, Tom, I will ask you to introduce our guest speaker.
Okay, Nancy, can you hear me?
I can, yes. And I'm
okay. My screen, when you do something that you're power sharing, my screen goes out. Right now, I can't see anybody. All I see is my entrance on my computer. So I'm going to I'm going to introduce Chris with,
you know what?
without seeing anybody.
One thing I hadn't done yet, by the way, I meant to make him a co-host so that he could share what he needs to. And let me just find you on the list. I think you show up as just Chris, is that right?
That's me.
Let's see if that works. Okay. I hope I chose the right Chris. We have two members named Chris as well. Can you see that you're a co-host, Chris?
Where would I check that?
It just popped up for a second saying Chris is co-host.
Okay.
Up in the right-hand corner.
Do you see the share screen?
Yep, I got
button?
That.
Okay.
I think we're good.
So you should have the ability now to share your slides or whatever it is you would like us to see.
Sounds great. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for having me today. It's
just Chris, let me give you an introduction first.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I'll let you go.
All right. I can't see anything right now, but I'll go ahead with it.
I can see you.
Pardon?
I can see you just fine.
Can you really? Oh,
Yes.
I'm looking at I usually click on Google Chrome and go back to the mail and click back on your link, and I'm okay, but hasn't worked this time. So anyway, okay, Chris, if you remember, all you older people, that Jimmy Carter's favorite charity, shall we say, was Habitat for Humanity, and today we're having LA's Faith and Community Relations Director, Chris Untiet. Is that how you pronounce your last name, Chris?
Very close, Tom. It's Untiet. Pronounce the E.
Untiet.
Yep.
Okay, Chris Untiet.
Yep.
He grew up in Iowa, receiving his Master of Arts degree in Political Science and History from Iowa State University in 2008. My dad was born in Iowa, Fonda, Iowa, by the way, in 2004. I mean,
yep. Really close to where I grew up
rather.
at. Yep.
Anyway, he joined the AmeriCorps National Service Program to serve with Habitat for Humanity of Greater Los Angeles from 2009 through 2011. He has since served as the LA Faith and Community Relations Director, connecting 100 diverse congregations and community groups of various traditions from across Greater Los Angeles with Habitat's mission to put God's love into action to build homes, communities, and hope. He has traveled to China, El Salvador, Paraguay, Malawi, South Africa, the Dominican Republic, and Vietnam to build homes with Habitat. He enjoys traveling, running, watching movies, politics, and reading in his spare time. Chris, you have a diverse background, that's for sure. Been to a lot of places, and Habitat for Humanity is more than just building homes. So will you fill us in on all the goings on with this Habitat in Greater Los Angeles? Here's Chris.
Awesome. Tom, thank you so much for that introduction. You're too kind, and again, so honored to be here today, everyone. Oh, 1 second. Sorry about that. Just out of curiosity, has anybody been out on a Habitat build site or to a restore over the years? Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for, even if you didn't have any skills, going out and braving it and helping to build hope and homes. And yeah, as Tom mentioned, I'm really grateful to have been with Habitat for, it'll be 12 years in July. Was just planning on doing a year, and I caught what we call habititis, and it's been a really great journey ever since. And so, yeah, today I thought I would just kind of take you through over the next half hour or so, you know, what Habitat's up to here in Los Angeles. We actually, our LA chapter got started in Westwood through the Presbyterian Church about 30 years ago in 1991. And out of that has grown one of the largest chapters in the country for Habitat. We completed our 1,000th home just last year, but there's still, as we know, just so much more to do. So we're getting started on the next 1,000 in the years ahead. So I thought I would I'm going to pull up some slides here, and let's see here. Just take you through some of the processes of Habitat, and let's see. Let's get this on the full screen. All right. Can everybody see that okay? Fantastic.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, every hand does make an incredible difference, and I'm just so inspired. You know, we pre-COVID, you know, we averaged about 10,000 volunteers that would get involved in various ways, from building to helping in the office and our restores to fundraisers and recruiting families, and it, you know, Habitat is, I guess, well known brand wise as Starbucks and FedEx now when they do the brand rankings, but it still really is this great grassroots organization. As Tom said, President Carter really got off the map after his presidency, and I actually got to build alongside him in Indiana back in 2018 when he was 90. He's 96 now, so I think he was 94 then. It was just amazing to and so inspiring, to see him and Rosalind both out there at their age, painting, still cutting lumber and helping to get more homes up. And so as we say, if you're 94 or older, we might let you off the hook if you don't want to come out and build, but if you're under 94, there's no excuses to get you out there at some point, other than maybe a pandemic that's going on right now. So really is a hands-on organization. Mission statement, putting God's love into action, bringing people together to build homes, communities, and hope. And our vision really is to build a world where everyone has a decent place to live. There are far too many families that are working, that have jobs, but just, especially in places like Los Angeles, with the high costs and other factors that have come into play over the decades that just make it really hard to be able to own your own home. And so Habitat for families like you see in this photo here, this was one of our Watts projects that we completed in 2018. We work with the city and the county typically to acquire land. And then we bring our funding partners together, community clubs, churches, businesses, individuals, to raise the funds for the materials side of the homes. And then we bring the volunteers out to build over the course of, if we're just doing a single home, it's 4 to 6 months. And then hand over the keys to the family who puts in sweat equity hours to help build their home, and does pay back a portion of the mortgage. Usually it's about a third of the overall value of the home over the course of 30 years. Those funds go to help build and repair more homes throughout Los Angeles. And we always encourage people to bring Kleenex to the ribbon cuttings, because it's that you're forever changing and transforming the life of another family in need. So this is our ever-growing service area. We serve most of Los Angeles County through our greater LA chapter. We have sister chapters in the San Gabriel and the Pomona valleys, and then other Habitat affiliates in Ventura County and Orange County. There's about 45 total Habitat chapters just in California alone, and about 1,100 around the country now. We do as best we can to do as much as we can throughout this entire area, from building new homes whenever we can acquire land. Right now we're helping with a lot of wildfire relief efforts in regions in the San Fernando Valley that have been impacted, and just trying to see where we can make a difference. Our typical build is serving low-income families, but with the homeless crisis going on right now, just exploring new options to help people transition out of homelessness as well. And LA County, unfortunately, is still referred to often as the poverty housing capital of the United States. And so we've done a lot over 30 years now, but so much more to do to eventually turn our county and our region to a place where we know that everybody has a decent place to live and work. So this I kind of just mentioned this, but it kind of gives you a sense of how this process works again, from acquiring the land to identifying the project sites, and then selecting the home buyers. We have a pretty thorough application process. They have to meet certain income and credit requirements in order to apply. Again, be willing to put in the sweat equity hours to help build or repair their home. And this is all, pre-COVID. Right now, it's a little different, with obviously not being able to be out on the build site working together as much as we would like. And then once the families are selected, again, working with the community partners, building the homes. And then it's always fun. We've got another two homes in South Los Angeles that we're about ready to wrap up next month. And so the families are open in escrow right now, and probably by early March we'll be able to move in. So we're really excited for them. It's probably my most joyful Zoom meeting last year was when we, brought them on to a surprise Zoom gathering and surprised them with the good news that they had been selected. The KC and the Aguilera families, they were overjoyed, and that's always a moment to treasure as well. So, um, yeah, and then I think the other thing, beyond our traditional builds that we're doing, which are the need for affordable housing in Los Angeles. I think that's pretty clear. Um, but we're always looking to acquire different types of land, because that not only do we have an affordable housing problem, there's also just not a lot of space left in Los Angeles County to build on. We've kind of have this urban sprawl that just has kept going and going out for decades, and now we have to figure out how we can get more units in. And so we've gotten creative. We buy, certain lots like this one here in the Watts area was just a small part of the end of a block that we were able to get a house up on. We've started doing ADUs, which is an accessory dwelling unit in the backyards of homes. If a family wants to rent out to someone that's transitioning out of homelessness, or they just need more room because they have 5-6 members living in a really tiny house already, those ADU units can help provide more space. So just constantly trying to get creative with where and how we're building, to somehow figure out how we can get more units up. The thought being, the more units that we have in the county, and that's going to bring prices down for everybody, and especially help our lower income families that are just struggling so much to get by and have a decent place to live. So yeah, just a little bit more about the land acquisition. Again, I mean, it's amazing that 80% of our volunteer base comes, or 80% of our workforce comes from volunteers. And so regardless of whether you have skills or not, we get out there and we have trained crew leaders that teach our volunteers how to build, how to repair, and then they go to it. And yeah, sure, there might be a few corrections here and there, but the homes get built, they still stand strong. One of my favorite stories is whenever there's like it's sad that, earthquakes and hurricanes happen, but there's been several occasions where, certain houses in neighborhoods have fallen down because of earthquakes or hurricanes or whatever, but the Habitat homes have stood strong. So, obviously, God's blessing those homes, but we also feel like all the extra nails that were put in by the volunteers maybe had something to do with those homes standing up as well. So, and then again, just mentioning kind of the financing of the homes, the 30-year mortgage. We do have some public funding that comes in to help with down payment assistance, some initial land acquisition costs that we take advantage of as well. So we are building wherever we can, but are so grateful for a project that we just completed last year in Culver City that I know there were a number of Rotary clubs that were involved to help complete the 10 homes in Culver City. I don't know if the Westwood Club sent anybody out ever, but we had a lot of the West Side Rotary clubs come out to help on this project, especially for the Mulva Hill family here. And I did want to, there's just a quick video I wanted to show. So I'm going to pull out of this share real quick. And just to give you a sense of kind of how the whole process works from start to finish. Just thought I'd show you this quick video of, and let's see, I think I need to, sorry, I know I need to share my sound too. So, all right, there we go. This will kind of give you an idea of the whole process and for a family in Culver City and how the builds work from start to finish. So we'll just enjoy that for the next few minutes here.
My name is Kadu Mulvihill. I am a single mom of 4 boys, Ryan, Trenton, Mason, and Kendall. I needed to find a home for my boys and myself after my parents had both passed away. We used to live with them and took care of them until their passing. We had gone through trying to find accessible housing. My youngest son, Kendall, uses a wheelchair. He has cerebral palsy. Trying to find a home or an apartment is next to impossible. Everything's got stairs to enter or some type of path that's, can't get a power wheelchair through. It really felt crushing, definitely tested my faith. My girlfriend at UCLA, where I work, she told me I should look into Habitat. I learned that they were building on the west side here in Culver City. My church ended up getting involved and sponsoring a house. So I was fundraising for the project before it was even open for application. I grew up in Culver City. My parents' home was a mile away from here. And I know the street. So while the application process was going through, late at night, I would come and pray over the property, over the project, that was God's will, that we would be here. My favorite part of going through this process was coming out and actually being able to throw walls up and see physical things happening to make it happen. It was just really great. The houses have ramped entrances to the front, and they're an open concept. We have an extra bedroom downstairs, and the bathroom, it's tiled, it has a sloped floor, it's curbless, no tub. Kendall's just loving the independence that it's helping, him gain.
I am 7 classes away from getting my AA. Right now, I'm working on a paper for my child development class. It's about my philosophy and who I want to be as a teacher.
We are today going to celebrate with a grand caravan coming down the street, waving and celebrating. Yet we wanted to still have the opportunity to bless these 4 homes. You guys have moved in at a really unprecedented time in our nation's history, but we are so happy we are able to continue to move forward and move you into your homes during this season. God bless this home.
It's already this wonderful community. It is just blessed with the most incredible people. Our neighbors have homes that Kendall can roll into. Kendall loves just going up and down the block and talking with everybody. It's a real blessing. I have the same hopes and dreams for Kendall that I do for all my boys. I want them to be good humans. I want them just to be kind and to help people when they can. And I'm really blessed because they are all doing that. Every back step that we've taken, every forward step has all been part of that process, part of that journey for us. To wait to actually get into the house, but to know that every single day and every single step was done with somebody thinking about getting us in here. It's been a really wonderful journey.
All right.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you, Nancy. Yeah, I just love, and their story, and every family that we serve is just really, I think, a testament to what can happen when communities come together to make, want to transform a family's life. And for a mom, like Karu and her kids, that she's been assisting a professor at UCLA for decades, but just never had enough resources to be able to own her home, and so to be able to help her and her family out was just really amazing. So that kind of gives you a pretty, hopefully a good picture on kind of how our new house process works. I did just want to spend a couple more minutes before I take questions on how some of our other programs that we're doing here at Habitat are working. So just, in addition to new homes, we do a lot of home repair efforts around the region as well. Oftentimes, housing stock is 50 or more years old and needs a new roof or a new coat of paint or windows or doors, other types of repair needs so that we can go in and really revitalize a lot of neighborhoods in that way, especially with COVID happening right now. We've seen a big increase in applications for families, wanting to take care of certain repair efforts on their homes. So we're able to help a lot of low-income families with those as well. Also, we do a lot of educating about home ownership and the process and the resources that are available through our PATH and our FIP programs. Just regularly, monthly basis, right now through Zoom, but doing a lot of workshops for families that just kind of want to learn all about there is to know about housing and the resources that are available to make this happen. Neighborhood revitalization has kind of become an extension of or a combination, I guess, of our new home and our home repair program. Over the last decade, we've selected a few key parts of the county that we feel are most in need. We were in Linwood from 2009 to 2014. Really helping to revitalize that city through a host of housing efforts, from new homes to renovations on foreclosed homes that had come up during the financial crisis, to just basic home repairs. Right now, we're doing the same thing in the Washington neighborhood down in Long Beach. I think it's just, building new homes is great, but we feel like if you're not bringing the whole neighborhood and the community together to really build it up, that we're missing out on leaving an even larger lasting difference. And so our revitalization program have really helped to expand our work and make an even deeper impact. Last March, like everybody else, our city, our country, our world got turned upside down with COVID. And so, we wanted to keep, as essential workers, we were able to keep our construction and our repair programs going. But we also felt there were calls for us to do even more. Habitat is known for bringing communities together. And so we launched a COVID relief initiative that has done everything from raise funds. We have access to those great, construction masks. And so especially in the early days when hospitals were unfortunately running out of those, we were able to raise a lot of funding and had access to be able to send masks and other PPE equipment to our area hospitals and other areas that needed them. We have had a program that's been able to provide direct food and utility, rent and mortgage, and other direct assistance. The families that have been hit the hardest during the pandemic have been our service industry low-income families, so the families that Habitat typically serves. And so we reached out to our 1,000 families that we had served over the years to hear how they were doing, and a lot of them, had lost a job or partially lost hours, had healthcare issues coming up. And so just to be able to have an initiative over the last 10, 11 months now to directly help them, and we'll be able to continue that in the months ahead, has been really important for us to do that. And then our disaster relief program as well. I mentioned, the wildfires, it seems like it's a yearly occurrence now, and several areas in the San Fernando Valley where we have been working over the years have been hit hard. So we're doing what we can to go in and help families rebuild after the wildfires have devastated their homes as well. So that's another program that's picking up as well. We also have a kind of a sister part of Habitat. It's called our CHODO, called Partnership Housing, that I guess it diversifies the type of new projects we can do, whereas typically we're just building for affordable homes for ownership. Our CHODO allows us to build, we're going to do a 38 house development in the heart of Long Beach coming up, and we're looking at building transitional housing for homelessness, along with our typical homes in Santa Fe Springs over the next couple of years, or building tiny homes in parking lots where we can help whatever organization wants that completed to help families get off the streets and have a more stable place to live. And so grateful for our CHODO and just how it's really allowing Habitat to diversify here in the Los Angeles region to fit the needs of of housing in our city right now. And yeah, lots coming up. I mentioned the Long Beach build. 10 of those 38 homes will be starting literally right now, coming up. We also have some new homes going up in South LA this year. It should be 2 on Budlong. It's on Budlong Avenue. Budlong's not a new city here in LA or anything like that. But no, really excited about being able to keep building new homes and repairing others this year, along with continuing our COVID program and our restores too, I should mention. And this will be my last slide before I take questions. I think the question, people always have, what can we do? And there's so many different ways to get involved with Habitat. And we just always ask, each club or church or business, however you might feel that you want to get involved supporting it, it all adds up and makes an impact. And so whether it's raising awareness, taking some of the information that you learned today and letting people know about it so that they know that we're out there. I think a lot of people think Habitat is a company that just builds homes overseas, and so they don't know exactly that we're here in Los Angeles building on a year-round basis. So just telling people about Habitat. Donation, like everybody, the funds are critical to helping us move projects along, and especially right now with COVID and a lot of families really struggling to get by from month to month. Donations are critical to help keep serving families and moving, making sure they can get through the pandemic okay. Always ask for your prayers as well. God has blessed us with an amazing amount of progress over the years, but each home takes a lot of effort, and so your prayers are greatly appreciated. Our restores, as I might have mentioned earlier, are another big part of Habitat. It's like a Home Depot thrift store. So we have trucks driving around several days a week. Right now we're just open Wednesday through Sunday, but we have a store at Olympic in La Brea, which is probably the closest one to the club members. We also one in Bellflower and Torrance as well for our service area, but it's furniture, appliances, lumber, windows, doors, lots of affordable household items that if you're cleaning out your house and need a truck to come pick something up, we're happy to do that. And then we just bring it back to the store. Price wise, you can't beat the deals. And then those funds help to build and repair more homes. So the restores are a great place to donate or come shop at too, if you're looking for those new household items. There's some really great materials in there. Once COVID's done, we would love to have you out back on our build site as a club. Come out for a day. Usually start about 8, go till mid-afternoon. Again, we have trained crew leaders there, but it's a super fun service experience, and we usually have volunteers out Wednesday through Saturday. If you're really anxious to do something before we can, because we don't know when we'll be able to have folks out, but we're creating fun virtual events where we can do projects together and learn more about Habitat, similarly to kind of what we've been doing today. But we can certainly look at setting something up like that if your church or your business or whatever other organization you're part of is interested in something. And then kind of similarly to just direct donations, just setting up a fun virtual fundraiser or something like that to raise awareness and support for the mission is always greatly appreciated as well. But with that, I again just thank you so much for having me here today. It's tough. It's so many challenges out there right now across our city and country and world. But I really believe that through clubs like the Rotary, organizations like Habitat, that we can continue to get up every day and go out there into our city and our world and make a world of difference a little bit at a time. And just grateful for all that you do as Rotarians. And again, thanks so much for having me, and be happy to take any questions you have right now. So,
Phil,
Hi,
looks like you're first.
Hi, this is Phil. Hi,
Phil.
obviously with your expertise and your resources and connections, you're obviously able to build houses way less expensive than the average home builder can. I'm hearing in LA that it costs them close to $500,000 to build like a studio apartment. It seems ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
Had you ever thought about contracting with the city of LA to put up apartments and houses using your expertise and your manpower to bring these costs down? Because I know in other cities they can build these houses for $200,000.
Yeah.
But LA charges $400,000, $500,000 for a studio.
Yeah.
It seems really excessive. You guys,
Yeah.
and that might be a good way to get more ongoing funding for you guys.
Yeah, the President Carter had his work project out here in Los Angeles once, and that during the opening ceremony, he was very up. The costs of building in LA are what's holding us back the most, and so getting creative and trying to figure out ways to bring the overall costs down is something we're always looking after, because even for habitat, it costs a lot to get a house up. I think we often do have cities give us land. So like the Culver City build, the land was donated to us for those 10 homes. So that helped out tremendously. And then, oftentimes companies will do what's called gift in kind. So there's a company that has donated all the doors to the Culver City project, or sometimes people will, companies will give us the shingles for the roof, or like Whirlpool gives a free refrigerator and stove to every Habitat house in the country. And so, all things like that are critical to, take you're right, $500,000 and try to bring that down to at least 300,000-400,000 to get a unit up. But I still gotta keep finding different ways. And sure, I think if, we do believe that ownership is so important. And so that's kind of been our focus over the years. And because there are a lot of organizations that work with, transitional or building apartments or things like that. That's actually a lot of where the H and the H funds are going to right now. But I mean, we're certainly open to exploring, especially with our sister Chodo organization, Partnership Housing, if there's something that makes sense apartment wise down the road. Absolutely, be happy to look at that.
Hey, thank
Mark,
you.
you had your hand up. Mark.
Chris?
I'm just curious, Chris, how does title pass on this? Who does it pass to, and how do they take title and not botch the whole thing up by defaulting, and or how does that the training work on that?
Yeah, really grateful. We have a less than 0.5% default rate on our homes, which is amazing. And so
that's great.
Say it's a $500,000 home that we're just completed in South Los Angeles, and what we'll do, the family will pay back about 1/3 of that value over 30 years. The rest is held is what we call like a soft second mortgage, which wouldn't come due unless the family needed to move out or something else happens, which is actually pretty rare. And so Habitat, or one of our banking partners, holds the rest of that kind of soft second mortgage. And, and so that prevents them from the family from, we just got this new house, let's, sell it and flip it and, take the rest of the cost. And so, but once the family, pays the more, and it's kind of fun. Some of our families we built for 30 years ago are now paying off, have paid off their entire, mortgage. And so they own their home now. But typically there's like a 40-year, deed restriction on if the family needs to move out. Habitat would have first right of refusal to buy the home back from the family, who can keep the funding,
the equity.
Yeah, exactly, that they put in. But then we would be able to get another Habitat home buyer in that home to build up their equity as well. So,
John O'Keefe, you've been waiting to ask a question.
Yeah, Chris. That was a very inspiring talk. Thank you very much.
Oh,
The
thanks, John.
you mentioned fundraisers. I know you can't be having them now, I guess, because of the COVID. But what kind of fundraisers have you had or do you have?
Yeah, so we've actually moved our big fundraisers virtually over the last 10 months. So we do an annual Builders Ball, which is usually in September. That's our big gala for the year. It had been at the Beverly Hilton, was gracious enough to let us come and use their facilities for several years. But that's always a fun night, where we recognize some of our partners. Like last year, we recognized the Dodgers, and Magic Johnson was there once, and so that's our big fundraiser for the year. And we'd love, once we are back at the Hilton, we'd love to have the Rotary have a table there for the night, possibly. But we've moved all that virtually, so there's still some fun opportunities to be engaged there. We do another big event every year called Power Women, Power Tools. So that'll be coming up in March this year, where there's combination of educating and fundraising. And then it's we've done everything from concerts to dinners to wine tastings. About everything under the sun you can think of to help raise those important dollars to get engaged. A lot of our church partners have done fun Olympic themed nights and other things as well.
Good.
So it's
Good.
Getting creative is pretty fun, and we're always open to new ideas for fundraisers though, because it's
Thank you.
definitely
Very
needed.
good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you bet.
Marcia, and then Tom, and then Richard.
How do families apply for the homes?
Yeah, great question, Marcia. So each project we do, we typically have like our own mini application process. It's not like we have a big, wait list or anything. And once you made your way, once you're up and in line, you'll get a home. So like, we'll usually promote in the city or the neighborhood where we're building the homes, have several application processes and meetings where they can see if they're qualified based on their income and their credit score, and just if they feel like they'd be a good fit. And they fill out the application. We go through it, and then it's so hard because like we're building 2 homes in South LA right now, and we had about 100 applicants that had sent applications in, but our team kind of narrows it down to the top 10 or 15, and then those go to our Habitat board of directors that has a committee that selects who they think is most in need and that would be a good fit for these homes. They make the selection, we let the families know, tears, joy, and they help to build it somehow. Right now it's a little tough during COVID, but and then once it's completed, then they'll go through escrow and move in. So it takes
Tom? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
Oh
Chris.
no, that's okay. Go for it, Nancy. I'm good.
Tom, you had a question?
That was the screening process, exactly what Marcia was asking, and that's it. He answered it.
Okay.
Oh, okay, great. Richard, you had a question.
Same thing for me. I had the same question. Thank you, Chris.
Well, I will follow up on that. Chris, it seems to me the homeless population are not candidates for this thing.
Yeah.
You're looking at families who are in rough times, et cetera, but the homeless isn't a consideration, is it?
For our kind of our standard, what Habitat's most known for, no, you're right. So we feel like kind of our niche is for, lower working class families that in places like LA where housing's so expensive, we want to help lift them out of poverty and into, a place where they can build equity and, have move out of their 1-bedroom apartment where they're, raising 3 kids into a 1,200 square foot 3-bedroom home. Having said that, we do realize that the homelessness crisis in LA is just huge right now. And so we want to do all that we can to partner with other organizations like PATH or others throughout the city that are doing amazing work to help with homelessness, and really work to create this spectrum where we, from homelessness to home ownership, where certain organizations are tasked with getting folks off the street and up on their feet. Other organizations can help get them through the initial phases of transitional housing and maybe into employment. And then one day maybe they could apply for a standard habitat home. And our Santa Fe Springs project coming up, we're partnering with it's called the Whole Child, and so they're gonna help us kind of operate the transitional housing that we're gonna build on this lot, and then alongside the typical habitat homes that we're building. And so I think more and more we're trying to find ways to help all aspects of the housing process. But yeah, you're right, Tom. Typically it's for lower income working families that just need a little help to become home buyers. So
yeah, Chris.
Yeah.
I know my church, St. Paul the Apostle in Westwood, helped fundraise for part of the Culver City project.
Yep.
And I think the Culver City Rotary Club was active. But as I was just helping a little with that, my understanding was that the land came from Caltrans. Is that what was in the movie, or was that a different project?
Yeah. Yep. So that Culver City project, first off, love St. Paul, love our Catholic Coalition. Thank you guys for that. Yeah. So the Culver City build, so some projects happen pretty fast. Then there's others that take a long time to develop. And the Culver City build was definitely one of the long ones. When I started in 2009, initial discussions were starting about that build. And yeah, what happened was Caltrans had bought that land because they thought they needed it for freeway expansion on the 405. They didn't. And so they sold it, wanted to sell it back to Culver City under the premise that it would be used for affordable housing. So that's when we got the call. But then the redevelopment agencies were eliminated 2011, 2012. So that slowed things down a few years, and it just took a while to get that thing moving. But so we were thrilled back in mid 2018 to finally be able to start building. And now all 10 families have moved in and just spent the holidays in their homes. So we'll get her done. Obviously we, 9-year project is not one that we don't want it to be that long, but we'll stick with it if needed. And others, it's nice when it can start, the first quarter of the year and be done by the end of the year. But yeah, that Culver build took a little while, but it's all done and happy ending.
So did Caltrans get reimbursed for the land, or did they actually donate it?
I think they just donated it. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure they just donated it. Yeah.
Thanks.
So, yeah, you're so welcome.
Chris, how does the 30-year forgivable mortgage work?
Mm-hmm.
Presumably they're making payments during the course of time.
Exactly. Yeah. Nope. They, pay back. Again, if it's a $500,000 home, they'll, pay back about 175 of that over 30 years. So that's, in Los Angeles, just an amazing opportunity, right?
Interesting.
And then, yeah, so they just pay, like just a normal mortgage payment. They'll pay it back, and with the idea that those funds are helping to build and repair more homes for families in need. So yeah, it's been I think program has been set up brilliantly, with a 0.5% default rate, and so we're just really able to keep it moving and keep it going. So yeah, John.
Yes. Chris, what's your experience been with the clients who moved into a habitat home in terms of how well they keep it up through the years?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Overall, I think great. They want to succeed. They realize this is a real amazing opportunity and a gift to move in. One story I'll share, Betty Monroy was the first habitat home buyer I ever helped. She moved into a home in Downey, and with her 3 kids. 2 of them had autism. So they've been in there for 11 years now. And one of her sons is in the U.S. Navy now. Her daughter's the first in her family to go on to college. I know their home still looks great, and they, as they keep coming out to Habitat events and doing great things. And Betty was actually selected as one of the 53 people to represent California in the Electoral College last month, which I thought was pretty amazing. So, Betty's a really, really huge success story, but most others as well do an amazing job keeping their houses up and continuing to stay engaged with Habitat and everything. So,
Right. Thank you.
That's fascinating. You're doing such great work in the world.
Thank you.
Honestly, and I'm speaking for myself now, it's so refreshing to hear a story like you've shared with us and detach from all the negative news we're bombarded with day in and day out. Regardless of the topic, it can be overwhelming. This is inspiring.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
We're grateful for that, and yeah, it is. It's been an exhausting year, I think, for everybody. Just with everything going on, and so
say the least.
Yeah. to know that we can still get up every day and just we can't do everything, but we can continue to make an impact here and there in our community to help families to have a better place to live and to really build hope while we're building homes at the same time.
Yes. Wonderful.
A final question,
any closing comments? Oh, Tom, over to you. Sorry.
I'd just like to ask him if he'd ever move back to Iowa.
I miss my family, but I know it's probably about 8 degrees there right now with snow, and I really enjoy sitting on the beaches on Sunday. And
yes.
But I do.
Iowa.
Grateful for that, and but
that's great.
LA, so.
Iowa's a good place.
Yes,
Some of my very best friends are from Iowa.
Is that right?
Good to know.
Oh yeah, Iowa's a very good place.
Great people. Really great people.
Chris, thank you so much for being with us, and in appreciation for your time and your inspiring talk, we will be making a donation in your name to the Westwood branch of the Los Angeles Public Library.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here, and welcome again to Lisa and Juliana. I hope we'll see you again. Everybody have a great week. Stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you again next Thursday, same time, same place. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks very much, everybody. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.